Oh hey guys, welcome back to Vermont Wildlife Science Station. Today we're going to be learning about Lepidoptera danidae danis plexipus, or the monarch butterfly. We're going to be talking about how they're an endangered species, the big long journey they take for migration, their intricate life cycle, and how you at home can help make their lives just a little bit easier. Let's get into it. So let's talk a little bit about migration. We're going to focus on the East Coast colonies due to the fact that we're in Vermont and we're on the East Coast. East Coast colonies start their journey in the northeastern states, such as Vermont, going all the way down to Florida and then down to Mexico for winter hibernation. This excessive journey can take upwards to 3,000 miles, with each individual butterfly flying in excess of 78 miles per day. They can go 10 miles an hour and fly at a level of about 16 feet above the ground. That's really impressive. Some butterflies have even been known to hitch rides on ships over to Europe. Those are the fancy ones. And migration always takes place in autumn. Let's have another fun fact about migration. Another fun fact about migration is that the adults that set off initially are not the ones that return the following spring. They migrate down, breeding along the way from Vermont to Florida. Then in Florida, they lay their last batch of eggs and pass away. Those babies emerge, which we will get into breeding very shortly, within 3 to 4 days of egg laying, and then by day 16, they're fully fledged, fully formed adult butterflies. They continue the journey down to Mexico and hibernate for the winter. On their way back, they're going to stop off in Florida, breed again. Some of them might actually make it a little farther up and breed. They're going to pass away, and then their babies are going to hatch, grow, and come right back up to Vermont state area and the northeastern states and start the cycle over again. We're going to get into the breeding cycle very shortly. After mating takes place, female monarch butterflies lay in excess of over 100 eggs on milkweed plants. This is their primary source of food for baby caterpillars. They eat as soon as they're hatched into their little larval stage. They eat in excess, they eat a lot. And then they grow very rapidly, shedding their skin up to 4 times before reaching their adult pupae stage at 2.5 inches long. Once they reach this stage, they excrete a tough outer skin known as a chrysalis, or a cocoon for most of us. These cocoons hang on the underside of leaves, and after about 15 to 16 days, a fully formed butterfly emerges. They stand on the outside of their chrysalis, pumping their wings, getting that blood flow to these newly formed appendages, letting the sun dry them off. And then once they're strong enough and they feel good, they start flapping their wings and getting some exercise to them, and then they take right off and begin the process again. It's pretty cool, don't you think? Next, let's talk about habitat. Adult monarch butterflies live in a wide range of habitats, especially during migratory seasons. They go from, in our case, the northeastern states of North America, all the way down through to the southeastern states of North America, and all the way down into Mexico for their winter hibernation. This gives them a wide variety of different habitats to live in. They've been known to live near well-wooded areas. Trees give them wonderful shelter from rain and wind, protects them, and they've even been known to breed on the sides of roads and in urban areas. So those of you who live in urban areas, you can see monarch butterflies too. Next, let's go into their diet. As we discussed before, the diet of the monarch butterfly varies between larval, pupae, and adult stage. The larva to pupae stage is primarily and pretty much solely milkweed. If you want monarch butterflies to breed in your backyard, milkweed is the key to getting that. Adult butterflies They feed on multitudes of different types of nectar-bearing plants, trees, fruits, and vegetables. Your garden will be their best place to live. I don't care if you're raising flowers. I don't care if you're doing fruits and vegetables. These guys are your best friends. Keep them around, and that'll give you a wonderful, healthy ecosystem. Let's talk a little bit more about that in the next segment. So what makes these little tiny invertebrates so important to your backyard? Pollination. As a matter of fact, monarch butterflies are classified as the most important pollinator in North America by the United States Fish and Wildlife Service. That's why they're so highly protected. Pollination is extremely important because it helps reproduction of wild plants, fruit and vegetable gardens, and all kinds of different types of food stocks that we need to survive. So this little tiny animal can help us survive. Isn't that beautiful? It also keeps your environment healthy. When your environment's healthy, you're healthy. It's just that simple. The process of reproduction helps sustain ecosystems. Pollinators, such as the monarch butterfly, facilitate up to 85% of the entire world's plant growth. Isn't that fascinating? 85%, which is why they're extremely important to keep around, keep healthy. We just got to protect them, guys. It's that simple. Let's talk a little bit about predation on them in the next segment. So, how do monarch butterflies and their caterpillars, how are they able to stave off predation? How are they able to keep from being eaten by primarily birds? Well, that's a very simple one. Did you ever notice the color? Look at the color of the butterfly. Bright colors, usually reds, oranges, and yellows, right? Look at the color of the caterpillar. I don't know if you can see that. It is striped with black, white, and yellow. These colors tell birds, I'm dangerous, I'm poisonous. And the reason why they're poisonous is because the milkweed they eat has a high consistency of alkaloid toxins. These alkaloid toxins build up in their system from caterpillars into butterflies. If an unwise bird who has not yet learned this lesson, usually young birds, grabs a caterpillar of a monarch, they're going to eat it, get really, really sick, and throw up. The reason why that happens is because the toxicity upsets their stomach so bad, boy, it just comes out. The same thing happens if they go to eat an adult. The toxicity levels still remain inside the adult just as they do in the caterpillar. An unwise bird who hasn't yet learned this lesson eats one, gets sick, it happens, and then they learn from that experience and go, I'm never touching another one of those caterpillars or those butterflies ever again. Which is why there are a lot of other butterflies that mimic monarchs. One of them being the viceroy butterfly right here. You can see it. They look very similar to the monarch butterfly, and they mimic monarch butterflies so they don't get eaten. Birds really can't tell the difference. They're the same colors. They're almost the exact same pattern. So if a bird sees a viceroy butterfly, they're going to go, I don't want to eat that. I got sick last time. So it's a very hard lesson to learn, quite unfortunately. But predation does still happen. It's not the primary cause for them to die, but we'll get into that in a little bit. I am going to show you one beautiful specimen I do have. Now please understand that I didn't go out and hurt a butterfly to get this. This was the result of a foolish bird who predated on a monarch butterfly, and I found this wing on the ground many years ago. I can't recall exactly how many, but I think over 6. And I laminated it so that I can keep it as a specimen. I would never hurt these butterflies. They're endangered species and just beautiful little pollinators. But when I saw this specimen laying on the ground, I thought this is a great way to learn about the wing structure and just see it in its beauty up close. If we had touch-o-vision, you'd be able to feel this, and you could feel all the ridges, all these lines in the wings. They really stick out. You could feel the delicate little, just the way that they'd flap. You can just feel how they control their wings from these little stems in the wings. It's very cool. I just love being able to look at it up close. But no, again, I didn't get that from a butterfly directly. I found it on the ground. Some bird just didn't learn their lesson yet. I kind of feel bad for them. So next, let's talk about a little bit of the statistics of monarch butterflies. Their lifespan is up to about 1 year of age, and their full wingspan is up to 4 inches. So a full-grown adult, their wings can go tip to tip, about that big. They're a good-sized butterfly, very beautiful, and very good to keep around. Now in the next segment, let's talk a little bit about how you at home can help them live a little bit easier in your backyard. So you go, Tara, how can I help butterflies in my backyard? One of the main reasons monarch butterflies are in so much trouble is that not because of predation, but because of habitat loss. Their habitats are being ripped up, their habitats are being completely destroyed, and unfortunately due to that fact, they have no places to eat, no places for shelter, no places to breed. That's where we come in. Folks like us, whether you live in an urban, suburban, or even a rural area like myself, you can do a lot to help them. For those of us who live in a suburban or rural area like me, you can have gardens or dedicated plots on your land that are dedicated solely for pollinators. Now, we're not just talking butterflies, we're talking bats, bees, and even birds. So when you plant a lot of nectar-bearing flowers, some of these can be flowers that reproduce on their own, some of these have to be replanted every year. You can take a section of your land, make sure that it has a small water area, not too deep, very shallow, a puddle, or even a bird bath or something that has something in it so they don't drown or other animals don't drown, because we don't want that. Take something like that so the butterflies have something to drink. Take a lot of nectar-bearing plants such as flowers, fruit plants, vegetable plants, all of that. They love it. And make sure that these dedicated areas are near shrubs and trees where they can take shelter during heavy, heavy wind, rain, and just really bad storms. Another thing you guys can do to help, take a look at the links below in the description of this video, and you'll be able to find these really cool websites that I visited and I researched about. They will give you some excellent ideas, including plant lists on what to plant to make these guys' eating environment really healthy. Definitely plant milkweed, guys, because that's what the baby caterpillars eat. And just give them tons of beautiful flowers and fruit and vegetable plants that they can pollinate for you, because if you do them a favor, they're going to do you a favor. They're going to keep your backyard looking beautiful. They're going to keep your fruit and vegetable plants extremely healthy and reproducing appropriately, and you're helping out a beautifully endangered species. So with that, guys, I want to thank you for joining us. Please have a go at some of this beautiful stock footage that I found. All credit goes to the wonderful photographers who recorded this footage and put it up on a website to use for free. Kudos to them. Wonderful videography there. And while you're looking at this, be sure to take a look at those links below in the description box to see how you can better help the monarch butterfly in your backyard. Stay safe, stay warm, and as always, we'll see you here at Vermont Wildlife Science Station. See ya.